What's up, everybody? Jamesbot, are you here?
Yes, of course I'm here.
Okay,
I'm a professional.
All right, well, of course, professional. I just want to make sure your mics are good. It looks like mics are good. Let us know in chat before we officially start the episode, because I'm not a good sound checker, James. I'm not at all.
Gibbs, I think your production quality is unrivaled. Okay, don't get down on yourself.
It is unrivaled. I'm just not sure which way. It sounds good to me. So I think we're just gonna flow with it. We're just gonna flow.
All right, let's do it.
All right. Hold on. I gotta hit my record button and make sure I wait an extra half second, because the last time on YouTube, it was like, come to the half flip, not welcome to the half flip. It wasn't great. All right, let's do it.
Excellent.
James, sorry to screw my intro. Welcome to the half flip. No, it's fine. Welcome to the half flip, everybody. I'm here with beautiful Jamesbot. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Gibbs. We had another crazy week of RLCS.
We did.
And I can't wait to talk all about it.
But there is a discussion that we have to have first before we get into this. The half flip, if you guys don't know, is a short form podcast where you can go on twitch.tv/prediction esports to watch it live, normally around 3 p.m. Eastern. This week we had to do it at noon, probably later on in the season. We might have to do it later, but we'll figure it out. The times, just check on Twitter, on myself's Twitter or Jamesbot's Twitter, to see when we go live. So it'll be on there. It's also on Spotify and iTunes. The links will be in the descriptions when you are watching this, and it'll be on my YouTube as well as Prediction Esports YouTube. But James.
Yes.
So people kind of already know, because we kind of spoil it with the title, but we have to have a quick half flip or ball chase segment at the start of the show.
Okay.
All right, James, what do you think of the title of this podcast as the half flip? Half flip or ball chase on this?
You know, I'm going to have to half flip on this, Gibbs.
So we're not very smart people, me and James. We also are not very good at naming things. James, I'm throwing you under the bus too.
You can't say that. It's tough to think of names for things. You can't think of everything.
It is very true. So, drum roll, even though everyone already knows what it is now called the pre-flip, which makes so much more sense. It
honestly does.
Yeah, we're talking about things before it happens, mostly. We don't really recap that much, so we're pre-flipping.
We're doing
next
this
week.
For prediction.
Exactly. 2 E's.
It was right in front of our face.
Yes. Exactly. I don't know how we didn't see it. We saw it as a Reddit comment when we announced it. We're like, you know what? That's genius. And then we were like, the 2 E's, even more genius. It just takes us like 10 extra days to become geniuses.
The fact that we are doing this for prediction, that was the turn. That was like the point where I'm just like, okay, we have to do it.
Yes.
Like there was no choice. So we need to find out who that Reddit user was and send him something.
There you go. Now, the other thing, this is still pre-flip episode 2. I'm not going to start confusing everyone by recalling this episode 1 or something like that. It's still episode 2. You guys will just know who's been there from the start, how it all began, all right? Simple as that. So we're in pre-flip episode 2. A lot of things to talk about, James. So the first thing we're going to talk about is our must-see games from this past weekend. And I'll start, and I'm going to go with Dignitas Mouse. I thought that series, you don't have to look at numbers for the series. Just watch the play on the field. And we're looking at 2 great teams that should be at the World Championship. It was just phenomenal play by both sides. An incredibly close series. Dignitas reverse sweeps to win 3-2. But even when they were down 2-0, and then I think Game 3 also went to overtime, and I was like, it doesn't really matter if Dig loses this. Like, it's so incredibly close between these guys. And then, of course, Dig ran it all the way back. But I felt like that series was so incredibly competitive, but also well played by both teams.
Yeah, it gives me hope for Mouse, because I've kind of like I've always been a Mouse fan just because I'm a huge Cookser fan. I love Cooks ever since he did stuff for Gold Rush and getting to hang out with him in real life. I've always been a huge Cooks fan, and I'm always rooting for them. And Speed's a character. I love the guy, but I've always, like at least the beginning of the season, especially even in their wins, I haven't been too encouraged by Mouse. And even though they did get a loss here, with the way they played Dig, I'm feeling a lot more confident about Mouse placing well enough to at least make a champion or world championship run potentially.
Sure.
Which is it's good. I'm happy about it. And that series just shows you how good Dignitas is as well. That was a good pick, Gibbs. Good pick.
Oh, thank you. But my only concern for Mouse is that, like, they showed up, but will they only show up because they're playing Dignitas, right? They have to make sure they show up against the bottom feeders and just destroy them. That's what I need to see now. But again, it was very close, and they will be in that playoff hunt. But like, they just need to show this week in and week out. That is the main issue so far. But again, incredibly close. Like, I think the overall it was 8-7. So super close series across the board. But Dignitas prevails. Both didn't shoot that well because I thought both defenses were great on both sides. But enough about Dignitas. Mouse, what do you got, James?
So this was tough for me because I have two series that I really want to suggest. So I'll start with my honorable mention. Is the Ghost versus the Susquehanna Sonics.
Yeah.
The game 5. That one, you just need to watch it for entertainment value, but I'm not going to dive into it. The one that I really want to talk about is the match that I perfectly predicted. 3-1. Barcelona over Reciprocity. That series was crazy. Devo one game had 10 saves. You have to see this series to believe it. It was one of those rare RLCS series where you just are having trouble believing your eyes. You have to watch this Barcelona Reciprocity series. One of the greatest defensive performances from a single player in a series that they win that you've ever seen.
It was insane. Plus or minus 35 shot differential, and that team wins the series 3-1. Like, I'm just going to say it's a record until someone tells me it's not, because that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen a lot. Like, a 35 shots alone in 4 games is pretty good, but to be plus 35 shots for Reciprocity, man, I felt crazy. So bad for them because I felt like they had the good shots and Devo would save them. Then they would like finally open it up for like, all right, here's their chance. And they hit crossbar, they hit post, or they throw it directly down the middle. I'm like, shooting so close.
Shooting was a problem for Reciprocity. But I mean, they still looked very scary. Like they were setting up chances. They had possession. Barcelona is an offensive team, and the thing that I think for Barca fans that they're going to be really happy about is that they've shown that their defense can hold up to scrutiny as well. Yep. So they're a very well-rounded team. But for Reciprocity, you have to start to worry a little bit for Chaussette and how things are panning out for Chaussette, because so much of the team relies on him playing well. Yeah. And the dynamic's not there for Reciprocity, and it hasn't been there for a while when you're talking about the big stage. They obviously had that dismal World Championship performance, and now they're sitting at 2-2 in league play when everyone put them at number 1. And they've also lost to Veloce. And so, I'm not saying Veloce is a bad team, but that is a game where if you're put at number 1 in Europe, you need to win that game. So it's interesting spot for Reciprocity now moving forward.
Yeah, like that there was some of those chances where it's like, all right, Barcelona's on defense for like 2 minutes straight. They get out for one scoring chance and score. That just is so demoralizing for Reciprocity. So, yeah, they've lost to now Barca and Veloce. They haven't played who at the beginning of the season we thought was the top 4, Mouse, Vitality, and Dig. So their schedule is not any easier going forward. They obviously will have some games that are a little bit more gimmies, but they still have a shot at top 2, but they have to take down these teams, like all 3 of those teams at this point. Yes,
and one thing I need to say is watch the Flakes Proteus flick. Go look at that play. If you're just going to look at one play from that series, go watch that play. Yep. He's won me over. Okay, I respect the guy. I love him. Okay, he's good. He's great.
Speaking of that, a fantastic transition into our new segment called The Soapbox, where this week I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant here, James, and we're going to talk about car choice. Because people are
love it.
Because some
people don't know the details.
Yeah, I see it all the time on Reddit where people are like, I'm just going to use Octane or I'm going to use Dominus. It's like, guys, it doesn't matter. None of it matters. Like, even Octane to Dominus when you're like in Champion, not even close to Grand Champion.
I won't say that none of it matters, but go ahead.
So I'm saying more for those lower level players where they're like, it really makes my game different. I'm like, guys, you're not good enough yet for that really to make a difference.
You are so savage, Gibbs.
There is small differences, and as long as you know those small differences and you play, then it's fine. Like, So, like, if I had an Octane and I'm going into a game, but like my car's actually a Dominus, but I think it's an Octane, sure, there's some small differences there that will screw me up. But if you know going in, it really doesn't matter. Then, of course, all the hitboxes are the same for all the Octanes, and there's like 35 of them in the game. It doesn't matter which car you choose. Choose whatever you want, because people are always like, I really like the Fennec right now. And I'm like, guys, it's the same car as the Octane. It doesn't matter. It's all placebo. That's all it is. Now, I know, James, you have one issue with the Scarab.
Yes.
So let's get to that talk, and I'm going to bring this up on the screen for people at home to look at here. So let me
this is something that I will also say is important to every car, because while the hit boxes are all the same, the handling is the same. The placement of the hitbox is what's important here. So this is why you can use different cars and get used to it. And it doesn't really matter what car you use, as long as you use it a lot and you get used to the placement of the hitbox. So when people say that all the hitboxes are the same, I say yes, but you need to make sure whatever car you're playing on, that the hitbox is in a spot where you're comfortable. Because for me, the Scarab, I just can't play the Scarab because I don't know how the ball's going to react, because the hitbox is shifted so far forward that my dribbling is messed up. Like, I can't dribble on the Scarab. I can't get the really, really slight aerial touches, because there's some plays where you need to have pinpoint accuracy, where you're hitting it with just the right part of your hitbox. And when you see there on the wheels, the hitbox is actually extended out to where the car doesn't even have, any part of it. So you're hitting it with the air.
All right.
So for me, because I don't play Scarab, I just wouldn't be able to get the really precise touches.
Sure.
That's my only.
Now, I know you're an Octane main in terms of hitbox normally, but do you ever use the Dominus?
No, I used to start out on Dominus. For me, it's just a play style thing. I get used to being able to dribble a ball off the wall or take it up the ceiling. And when I have a flat hitbox, I find myself driving underneath the ball too much. So I don't like to switch that much, but I have used the Dominus in the past.
So now, James, you're pretty good at Rocket League. So I could see where it could matter for you. But people that don't aerial dribble, which is, 99.9% of the people, including myself, who barely ever like aerial dribbles, I don't think it matters as often, just because it's like you're probably not going for those small touches. Like, I don't even look at my car most of the time while I'm playing Rocket League. You just kind of know it's there and you know what you're about to hit it with. Like, I barely look at it. So that's why, like, hitbox to me, and I'm garbage, it doesn't matter as much. But
the Scarab is the only outlier really for me.
Sure. Yeah. Now, my argument is, so we see here, like, on the Scarab, it's about like a box and a half, like according to this grid, where it's just open space where there is no car, but there is a hitbox. I'm just going to show you the Dominus for a second, which will take a little bit. I got to scroll through here. But the Dominus, if you look, the ball just eats into the bumper like crazy. And that's about a box and a half as well. So it's like, I feel like
to me, it's different because
there's stuff
with the
there,
Dominus, it's inward. Yeah, it's inward. So the fact that it's pushed out into nothing, that's kind of the detractor for me. But I totally agree. And I see what you're saying. And even with the Scarab and even with the hitbox shift, you can negate it by just practicing it. So that was my point, is if you haven't practiced on the Scarab and you're not used to the hitbox shift, then it could negatively affect your ability to dribble the ball and to make plays if you haven't played it a lot. And honestly, when I watched Flakes play on the Scarab, the one series, it's the worst series that he's played. Like, he played the worst in the series that he used the Scarab. When he used the Gizmo, he was amazing.
Yeah.
And if you go,
my argument for that is maybe slight bias too, of like, you're looking for those touches because you want to argue against it, maybe a little bit. But there was a couple.
That'd be a fun YouTube video. But there was he let a lot of them get away from him. Like, it was like, I could tell. Maybe I was a little biased, but he if you go back and rewatch the series, it could have even been nerves. It was his first series.
And to be fair, like, I think we all have biases in different ways like that when we're watching a game where I'm like, I think TSM's garbage. And then when they do, like, I'm going to emphasize all the times where they're just hot trash.
You don't think TSM's that good?
Yeah, I know. Surprising, so, yeah. But my other thing real quick, and we're going to go back to my soapbox here, is like, anyone that is not like pro level or, you know, at least like 1800 grand champs, somewhere around there, it's like, guys, it really doesn't matter. Just play with what you're comfortable with. But when people, so I saw this Reddit post, and this Reddit post, I don't understand. Maybe you can explain this to me, James, where he says, you know, Cooks on the Batmobile is great and all, but like, Mouse Sports could never win with 3 Batmobiles. What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? Why would Cooks use a Batmobile if for some reason on your team you have 3 Batmobiles, you're at a disadvantage? What does that even mean? I feel like people make up the weirdest things about hitboxes that just have no truth in it whatsoever. Like all the hitboxes
no bearing on reality.
Are viable. Yeah, and I'm like,
it does.
What does that mean, James? Please explain.
I just think that it means that I honestly don't want to give any credit to it. Honestly, Gibbs, that is it's one of the dumbest comments that I've heard. The hitbox, it really doesn't mean anything. It really doesn't mean anything.
As long as you're comfortable.
The flat cars, yeah, as long as you're comfortable with it, it doesn't matter what you're driving. It really doesn't. It's just about being comfortable on it. You even see Turbo playing in the Skyline a while back.
Yeah.
Sad Junior playing in the Takumi. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
That's always the thing when people are like, oh, wow, we have a 3 Dominus team coming up. It's like, please tell me talking points for this, because I don't know any of like, oh, 3 Dominus versus 3 Octane. I wonder how this is going to go. It's like, it's all the same. Sure, they'll chip the ball a little bit more, or like maybe slightly more power when they twist on the Dominus, maybe slightly, but it doesn't matter when it's 3 Dominus versus 3 Octane. It's like, it doesn't give any advantages anywhere. It's just whatever you're comfortable with.
We're finally starting to see people get enlightened, though, Gibbs.
I know. Thank you, Flakes.
It's finally happening.
I do appreciate it from Flakes. I really don't care what car he uses because I don't, like, it's a good, fun thing to talk about. But at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, well, whatever. I don't care what people use as long as the cars look good.
I'm still going to use the Fennec.
That's fine. That's fair enough. But it's all placebo. And that is the one weird thing I think, too, for the pros where, like, there's a lot of placebo effect on them, too, which I'm surprised when you're that good that you still have that effect on you. But I guess it still happens. But that's the end of my rant about car choices. Just please don't go into Reddit and be like, if only Cloud9 used 3 Dominuses versus G2, they could have won it. Just please don't do that because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Whatever you're comfortable with, use. All right, James, I'm done with my rant. Do you have any last words on car choice? Anything whatsoever?
Just to follow your heart, people. Follow your heart. Look at all the cars, and whichever one looks best to you, just use it, and then make it your own.
And use the heart antenna as well. Obviously, that adds to your hitbox. Oh, I actually do have one more thing that I forgot to bring up. Now, James, I am a genius in this hitbox talk here. Real quick.
Yeah?
I'm going to bring it up. So if you watch the stream here real quick.
I have the stream up. Okay. Always.
So I am a genius because on the Octane, like Octane has a lot of empty space on the top of its hitbox. And you know what fits perfectly?
The pigeon topper.
I assume the beak is like eaten inside that ball. Like it's not. No, that's way too big. The hard hat. It's the perfect hitbox for the Octane. I am a genius, and I've always known it. Thank you very much. That's all I have.
All right, I'll give you that. The pictures, they don't lie.
Exactly.
Worth 1,000 words.
It's right there. It's right there. The proof is in the pudding. We had some good pudding, by the way, like in the fridge at the caster thing. It was great.
What? We had pudding?
Yeah, there's pudding now. So
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, Leaf showed me. It's great. It's fantastic.
Dude, Leaf is stashing the pudding.
Oh, he probably is. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna get to our half flipper ball chase segment. Probably be a little shorter because we have this big doubleheader this weekend, so we want to talk a lot about those matchups coming up. So let's get into it. I just have 2 for this half flip or ball chase segment. First off, we're going to talk about the top 6. Is it locked for North America, do you think? That would be, the top 6 would be, hold on, let me bring it up.
G2, NRG, the Sonics, SSG, E United, and the Knights.
No, so I'm thinking Ghost over E United, and I think that's where it's completely locked with no E United, because E United's schedule has been kind of favorable. And in terms of their performance, do you half flip or ball chase with Ghost in that top 6, not E United?
I'm definitely half flipping here. I am half flipping. I am half flipping because I don't think E United's going to stay top 6. I think Ghost Gaming is too good. They're going to break into that.
Sure. So that's what I mean. Like Ghost Gaming is already in top 6 in my magical world.
What the heck are you talking about?
Okay. So is the top 6 locked, James, as G2, Energy, Sonic, Space Station, Pittsburgh Knights, and Ghost?
Well, Ghost is 7th right now in the standings.
I know they're 7th, James, but I'm saying we already know who our 6 best teams are in North America. Is what I'm saying.
I thought you were saying.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Okay, all right. That was where my confusion was lying. Yes, I think those are the top teams for sure.
Okay.
I think Flight is finishing 10th for sure, and I think Cloud9 and Rogue are most likely going to the promotion tournament. Yeah. I think the standings are almost completely accurate, except United is going to fall off and Ghost is going to inch up.
And that's my issue right now, or not issue, but I feel like this league play, I just feel like that top 6 is going to dominate that bottom 4 in every one of those matches, where like maybe we'll get one upset here or there, but it just looks like Ghost Gaming, they look incredible. Sure, they're 2 and 3, but they still look like really good compared to like United, where like they sweep Rogue, but they score 5 goals, and it just doesn't look like they have a lot of offensive pressure still. And that's playing Rogue, who look terrible. I'm very concerned that, like, yeah, we're locked in already. We have our top 6. I'm ball chasing all the way. Just because, like obviously Rogue, Flight, and Cloud9, I think, are out of it almost at this point, because E United beat both Cloud9 and Rogue. So E United is the only one that has a shot, but it doesn't look pretty, I think, right now for E United personally.
Yeah, I feel bad doubting them because they've swept Rogue and they've swept Cloud9.
Sure.
But like you said, it's hard to have a ton of confidence when they're also, having pretty one-sided series. However, Ghost and NRG are good teams. Those are the 2 teams that they lost to. So I will keep my finger on the pulse of E United and watch as this progresses. Mm-hmm. And honestly, Ghost could have a lackluster performance. Like I could see Cloud9 even potentially taking Ghost down.
I could see.
You never know.
Yeah,
you never know.
It's possible, but I don't think Ghost is losing to a Rogue. I don't think they're losing.
I don't think they're losing to Rogue.
Or did they play Flight? I think they already played Flight. Yeah.
So right now, E United still has to play G2. They have to play Flight. They have to play the Knights, Space Station, and the Sonics.
So my one thing there is, if somehow the Sonics come back down, like out of nowhere, maybe, but I doubt it. And then Pittsburgh Knights, if they just completely fall apart, I think that's the only way that like, E United passes someone. Like, I don't think they pass Ghost. But again, if those upsets happen where, like, I think Ghost would have to lose both Cloud9 and Rogue for that to happen. And I just don't see that happen. The only way I see it is if Pittsburgh Knights, for some reason, just falls apart.
Yeah, and the Knights, they have a relatively favorable schedule, to be honest.
Yep.
They're going to be playing Cloud9, E United, and Rogue, and potentially the Sonics, who I think still are under risk of kind of cooling off. I think everybody thinks they're overperforming at the moment.
Yeah.
And if they're not, then it's crazy, like how much they've improved and how they can take it to these RLCS teams. So Knights have a relatively favorable schedule as well.
Yeah, but I'm still ball chasing. Definitely, I think, our top 6 is set.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Half flipper ball chase Europe, the same exact question, top 6. And I think this one's more of a lock. Like, I'm going to ball chase right away. That's Dignitas, Vitality, Veloce, Barcelona, Reciprocity, and Mouse Sports. And I have this one as like 95% lock compared to maybe like a 80 to 85% lock in North America. But I'm ball chasing all the way.
I'm with you. I'm ball chasing you, ball chasing the ball.
Cool.
That's how, awesome. I'm right behind you, Gibbs, because Europe, the top is so top heavy. Like Dignitas, Vitality, Veloce, Barcelona, there's no way they drop out of the top 6 whatsoever. And then you look at the next 2 teams. It's Mouse and Reciprocity.
Yeah. That's the issue, right? Where
it's crazy.
When we came into the season, like everyone's like, on paper, I feel like there's a top 4, and that was Reciprocity and Mouse. But with Barcelona and Veloce overperforming like this, but it doesn't look like it's going to stop. And for Veloce, they've already beaten all these teams below them. They're at 4-1. Barcelona's at 3-1. Like, you just don't see Reciprocity plus Mouse falling down to these 1-3 or 1-4 teams like Endpoint, TSM, Team Singularity, who we thought was a lock for 7th, but they've looked worse and worse, it seems like, week in and week out, and Monaco. And like, I have no faith in any of these teams to make a run back for a top 6 spot.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. All of the rival series promoted teams are going to be finishing outside of the top 6 almost certainly. And then TSM was in the promotion tournament last season, and now that they lost Alpha, it kind of makes sense. Europe has been pretty predictable for the most part. It's kind of lived up to our expectations. The only thing that I would say is really different is that Reciprocity isn't as good and Barcelona is much better.
Sure. Yeah. The only problem with it being predictable is poor Jesse. He's given away, I think, $3,000 worth of credits by doing that match thing. Like, so
it's his own fault.
I know, but like, so someone hit the other week, then someone hit on Saturday, and then someone hit on Sunday this week. So they hit on both days. Not the same person, but it was just like, oh, that hurts.
I even noticed he's been like throwing in for his own generic prediction, just throwing in a couple series where he completely makes the opposite thing opposite prediction in case anyone's copying and pasting.
Yep.
So he's trying. I was like, man, Jesse, he needs to like ensure all of these competitions to try to hedge some of these bets.
Yeah, it's rough, man. It's rough. But the one good thing for at least TSM, I think, out of all these teams, TSM has a favorable schedule down the road, at least a little bit. They get Team Singularity, they get Endpoint in these next 2 weeks or this one mega weekend. So if they beat both of them and then get an upset somewhere, Mouse, Rec, or Barca, maybe, but I still doubt it. I mean, TSM is 1-3 right now, so they would need a lot of help as well. But yeah, again, this top 6, like, it looks locked. But when it comes playoff time, again, like all those teams, like it's going to be coin flips everywhere. I feel like when we get there, like even if you're in 5th or 6th, I could see them easily, within 2 series to make it back to the top 4, just because all those teams are very talented. Just comes down to who is hot at that time, right? Mm-hmm. So we're still 3 weeks away from there.
There's more depth, I feel like, in Europe. Sometimes our top teams, obviously, NRG is the reigning champs. G2 is looking good, but just looking at all of these teams from Europe is frightening. They are 6 world-class caliber teams.
And at the same time, I wouldn't say NA is that far off. Maybe because Pittsburgh Knights has looked a little shaky, but Ghost, I think, could be a world-class team. They haven't shown it yet, but I think they have that potential. Pittsburgh Knights is a little rough, but
they have the talent. They have the talent, but I don't know if they have the mindset to be champions. It's you have to be in the right mindset. You have to be able to get these wins, and Ghost has just lost too many series at the moment for me to put a lot of faith in them.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so that's it for our half flip ball chase segment. We're going to move on to our 50-50, where James, you can brag a little bit here. So if we look at the records from last week, I went 4-3. James went 6-1. And so you know what's bullshit?
What?
And I'm not sure if we're supposed to curse this podcast, but oh well, it happened.
You can beep it out.
I'm not going to do any editing. Come on. The 2 series I lost on, Ghost vs. Sonics. I think if everyone looked back, like, Ghost should have won that series, man. Like,
they should
have happened. And then you look at Rec Barca, a plus 35 shot differential. Like, James, if you came in and were like, all right, like, I'm going to pick Barca, but they're going to shoot 35 less times than Rec, I would put $1 million on that. I'd be like, you're insane.
If you show me all the stats without the scoreline, then I mean, I'm thinking Reciprocity won the game. I'm thinking Reciprocity won the game. But to be honest with you, the series played out almost exactly like I was expecting, except for the number of shots. That was
that was a big deal, to be fair. But yes, it did go 3-1, like you said, and you said that multiple times, and I hate you every second for it. So you have a 2-game lead. Now we have to talk about the bet. We asked people on YouTube for the comments to see what we would do. And some people are a little bit crazy. So I think people think that we have way more ruling over this RLCS show. We're like, oh yeah, the loser gets to pick what tie the other one wears at the World Championship. I'm like, guys, we're a professional show. Yeah. We can't just wear whatever we want.
I'm going to have Gibbs wear a top hat next week.
Yeah, it's like, I'm sorry, guys. We can't do that. So I did see one where someone wears a shirt with the other's face on it at Worlds, and we'll see if we do it during rehearsal or whatever. Or just make a video about it.
Cold open.
Yeah. See, again, James, I don't know if they would do that.
I could probably pull some strings.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see. So what we'll do is if I win, then James would have to wear a shirt with my face on it, but there's going to be a one-liner below. And that's where we need your help again on YouTube comments. What should that one-liner be for me? And then what should that one-liner be for James? So if James wins, I wear a shirt with his face on it with a one-liner below that as well. So let us know what you think. No swear words, like nothing that could get us in trouble. Because again, like people just want us to do whatever we want on the show. So come up with some good one-liners, and me and James will choose, and then we will have the bet completely settled by next week, and then obviously we'll wait to the end of the season to see what goes down. But on that, James, we got to do some 50-50s for this week. And I got to say, in North America, there's not a lot of great games in terms of games that should be close. I have two, and that's across the 2 different days. So I have Pittsburgh Knights versus Sonics. Who do you think is going to take that one?
I think that this one is so tough. I'm gonna stay with the Sonics because Dat Pack. I love honestly Dapper, even though, like, regardless of how well he plays on the field, he's been playing quite well. Chalk has been playing. He's been having like an MVP season. If the Sonics continue to play and get wins, and if they win this here and Shock has another even like decent performance, as long as it's not bad and they get the win, I think Shock, he has to be in the conversation for MVP in his rookie season.
Absolutely. Like, I don't think anyone's even close to him right now. Because I feel like energy right now, it's been like a little bit extra turbo, but it's still like Garrett and Justin like pull their weight. For G2, you could say J-Naps or Rizzo.
I think it's J-Naps right now.
Yeah,
J-Naps is the leader, except he hasn't even had a major week every week. Shock has had some singular moments that I think propel him to a clear number one. How many did he have? Every single overtime goal last week?
So he basically won every game for them. I felt like I think it was he had the 2 overtime winners, and then one game didn't go to overtime, but he made some big plays, I think, to get them the win. And
that was such a big series. It's against Ghost, who's a team that is talented, and people are expecting to finish near the top. So Shock, clear number one for MVP. So how can I not pick the Sonics in that game?
I have to go with you too with Sonics. Like, I'm not like completely sold on them still, but obviously Pittsburgh Knights it's kind of like a downhill trend right now. Sure, they had that 1 week where they looked really good against Ghost, but I do feel like it has to be like Reynolds has to play perfect to get AJ involved and all that, and I feel like they can't do that every single week. And so I still worry about Pittsburgh Knights. I'm worrying a lot less, obviously, like about the Sonics because they keep pulling out wins, even though they should have lost last week. But I'm going to go Sonics as well. Now, the other one on Monday is Ghost Gaming versus G2. It's the only other game that I feel like could be close. So who do you got for that?
I'm going to go G2 on this. I'm going G2.
So this one I'm scared about, James, because G2, sure, they're 4-0. They haven't played anyone. They've played Pittsburgh Knights. That's it. Out of like the top teams. So like last season when Ghost played G2, we talked about the stats of like they just bully bad teams, G2. And when they play against good teams, they were not doing as well. And then Ghost wound up taking that series. I'm going to go Ghost here. Now, I think it is an upset.
This is your chance. Yeah, this is your chance to. I mean, it's not like the hugest of upsets, but
I have to try and catch up here.
You got to. Yeah, if this is going to be one where you're going to go against the grain a little bit, I think it makes a lot of sense. For me, being in the lead, I'm just going to take the safe pick.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the safe pick. G2.
Pick the favorites. Yeah.
Yeah, they're still the favorite. I love the way G2's playing. JNaps is having a great season. Chicago's having a good season. The only thing that I would say that's holding it back from a great season is his shooting accuracy. At some games has been a little bit challenging, but overall, G2 is the favorite in this matchup. But Ghost easily could see them getting a win here.
Yeah, that's my only worry. Just because G2 again, when their play style is on, they just look so dominant because they just hold the ball like on the other half and just dominate throughout an entire series. But when they get tested, or at least last season, they started to fall apart. Now, I don't think that they are that bad anymore. I think they will have a top 3 finish for the season. But I'm going to go Ghost because I think Ghost, they have to win a big one at some point, right?
Yeah, and Atomic can carry. Carry. And last week, even though Ghost lost, Illusion was hitting some bangers. He had some very impressive goals. So they have all of the talent. They have all of the pieces to honestly be the best, or if not close to the best team in North America. It's just figuring out all the bigger picture that is holding them back right now.
Yeah. All right, James. So because there's only 2 NA games that are like kind of close, I want you to pick 2 upsets, and if you get them right, we'll do just one. Like I'm going to count as 1 win each.
Can I dip into the double header?
Yes. So both sides. So week 5 or week 6, in terms of the double header game. So you get to pick 2, and we'll see how they all play out.
Okay, so this one is going to sound like a bit of a Pega pick, but I'm going to stick next to my guns. I think Cloud9 has the ability to get the upset over Space Station. I think this is going to be a bounce back week for Cloud9. I've put my faith in them before. It hasn't been rewarded, but I think that it's possible. And honestly, there's not that many upset picks that are available, to be honest. Like, what else am I going to pick? Am I going to pick E United over G2? No way. No way I'm picking E United over G2. Knights over NRG? No way.
All right. So, James, like, how about this? So you picked the first one. I'm going to go C9 over NRG then, because I do think...
Oh, my gosh. If that happens, oh, my goodness.
Because I do think, like, NRG sometimes, like, whatever, that they'll probably smack around PK, but, like, we're going to finish top 2. It doesn't matter. Kind of forget that they have to play on Monday. Like I think Turbo's going to wake up late and be like, oh, man, we got to play. And, like, Cloud9, I think they have the potential to win at least against one of these teams. And since you chose Space Station, and I don't want to be the same, I'm going to choose NRG, because why not? Why not?
Okay, well, that's crazy. I tell you, if either one of us are right, I think we both deserve a big pat on the back.
All right, so I'm going to pick the next one then. I'm trying to think here. Let's see.
They're tough. There's not that many.
There really isn't, because, you know,
upset favorites.
When E United plays 3 times, it's hard to.
You know what? I'll give you the Ghost Gaming over G2. I think with the current status, Gibbs, if you pick that as an upset, I would pass it. You know, it's borderline upset.
Yeah, but that was our 50-50 pick, so I can't pick that. So it's like, this is just to see if one of us gets one random one right. You know what I'm going to pick? I'm going to pick Flight over E United.
I mean, okay.
Like, I think it's an upset.
It's an upset because they're dead last.
Yeah, come on. It's still an upset. So I'm going to pick Flight over E United for my other upset, just because E United plays so much on their own half. Flight, they never pass when they're on offense, but their solo plays are insane. I'm going to go Flight there.
Okay. I think for me, then,
I know it's hard.
Looking at what's available, there's really not much.
I mean, again, these are bonus points, James. Like,
I'm going to pick Rogue over the Knights then. Rogue over the Knights.
Okay, like, I thought that was probably my other one that I was thinking. So, okay, Rogue over Pittsburgh Knights. In case Pittsburgh Knights, because if they go 0-2 on Saturday, that's rough. Because then they're like, oh, man, we lost the Sonics and Energy, that they could be really demoralized going into Rogue, where Rogue is playing for everything at that point.
Yes.
To stay alive for playoffs, I could definitely see that happen.
Has pop-off potential. Kronovi's playing well. Wonder, I think, is there was still last week. Some of the things on defense we saw from Wonder were questionable. They were questionable. Offense was good.
So it was so funny because it was, I think it was Jorby. He just walks into the green room to James and Crowley, I think it was, right? Where he's like, man, Gibbs just called Wonder a clown. And that's all he says to you guys.
Yes, yeah,
and
that's all he told us.
You just come out and you're like, dude, did you call Wonder a clown? I was like, let me at least preface this by saying he was a showman on the field. He was a magician on offense and a clown on defense. So I didn't directly call him
like a party entertainer thing.
Exactly. Like, you know,
I missed the context.
I kind of called him a clown, but it was more because it was, you know, fun wordplay or whatever.
You got mainstream media.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Jorby just called me out in the green room. I'm like, come on, Jorby, what are we doing here? All right, let's move over to Europe, where there's a couple extra games, actually a decent amount. So let's try and get through these pretty quick. TSM versus Team Singularity. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I don't even think we have to talk about this because I don't want to talk about TSM. So, okay we're going to move on. Reciprocity. Oh, wait. I don't know why I have Reciprocity versus Endpoint. Never mind.
Yeah, Reciprocity.
Yeah, we'll just write it in because why not? So it'll pad our records. And then when there is an upset, we will both look foolish. I want to make sure that's a game because I feel
Endpoint is a team that I think could pull off an upset against almost anybody. So I think I know why I put that. I was trying to bait you because you hate Reciprocity so much that I was trying to bait you. And also the schedule's been kind of tough to be honest with you. It's been tough for Endpoint. They've played Veloce, like that. I think you could say that Veloce is a tough matchup. They're sitting at 4-1 plus 7 game differential, like just tied, almost tied. Well, same record as Vitality for second place. So they played Vitality, Veloce, and Barca. And honestly, I think those are the best teams in Europe right now.
Yeah.
And the only team that they haven't, or the only team that's
Vitality
not the top they
there.
played is ASM. Yeah. I mean, they've already played Vitality. They lost to Vitality. They lost to Veloce. They lost to Barca. And so Endpoint.
Reciprocity plays Vitality this week.
I'm saying for Endpoint.
Oh, Endpoint. I'm sorry. I got you. Okay. My
So that's why I'm saying I don't think that you want to discount Endpoint too much in this series, because they've had a very tough schedule. So even though they're playing Reciprocity, and in Europe, no games are free. This Endpoint team is still a very dangerous team.
Now,
they're very dangerous. Monaco, I don't think is as dangerous.
Oh yeah. So like Endpoint, I think they're the ones that again have a shot to move into that top 6. They have to beat Reciprocity though to have even a case for that. I feel like at this point. So we'll see, like if our top 6 are locked or not by that game. But we're both going Reciprocity there for sure. Barcelona versus Dignitas. This one's tough.
This is a difficult one, and I think I'm going to keep riding the Barcelona hype train here.
All right.
I'm going to keep riding the Barcelona hype train. I'm going to give you a chance to catch up.
Because obviously I'm going Dig. Obviously. We already know this. I'm a Dig fanboy through and through. Barcelona does look good, though, man. My one concern with Barcelona, like, when you have a great defensive performance, I'm like, that's great. But you can't have that every week. If that happens again, 9 times out of 10, you're going to lose.
The beautiful thing for me, though, is that Barcelona a lot of times isn't going to have to do that. They're a team that, if they get out ahead and they're winning the boost game and they're feeling good and feeling speedy, they're a team that will do that to you, where they'll keep the shots coming to you. They'll keep you stuck in your own net. So Barcelona, I love the way they're playing. I think that they're playing near the top. Like I think that they are a contender for top 2, and with a win here, that's going to move that top 2 goal even further up for them. So this will be such a fun match to watch. This is probably the match of the week.
Yeah. Dignitas, I think they play a little conservative where they don't use a lot of boost, and I think that is a lot because of who they had to play so far. So even if Barca is trying to take that boost, I think Dig will find ways out of their own half with Astral or Violent Panda doing something. So I think they'll be okay, even if they do get pressured by Barca. And then if they do get counterattacks, obviously probably the best passing team is Dignitas, probably followed right behind by Barca just because of how they've been doing so well. Like Devo's been doing a great job on the passing side. So
he really has.
It's going to be like, that is definitely, it feels like a top 2 match, or like who's like possibly number 1. I think the other number 1
I'm with you,
that has a chance, Vitality versus Reciprocity. And I feel like you have to go Vitality here just based on what Reciprocity has shown lately. Vitality looks good, that they look strong. All 3 players are playing incredibly well. And if they're playing incredibly well, they're going to win games. It's just when they start getting on top of one another, when they lose that momentum, that's when they get inconsistent. Usually that's still enough to make it to the World Championships for them. When Reciprocity is inconsistent, that's where they fall out of that conversation for the World Championship. And that's where they are right now.
Yeah, and a lot of these top teams are going to start to run into each other. Most teams, like Dignitas and Vitality, they haven't played yet. Mouse and Barca hasn't played yet. Mouse and Vitality hasn't played yet. A lot of these top teams haven't really played, so we're going to start seeing. We're getting into the home stretch here where the teams will start to sort themselves out. Yeah, and Vitality, that loss to Singularity might really come back to haunt them. But with Vitality, I think Alpha just started slow, and now that Alpha's feeling comfortable and he has a few weeks of good performances under his belt, Vitality, I think, has the most potential to be the best team right now. So I can't pick that. I cannot pick Reciprocity here. It's impossible.
This week, too, it's like we're going to start seeing teams clinch playoffs, right? Or clinch at least their RLCS spot back for next season, just because of how many games are left. Where after this week, at most teams have 3 games left, and a lot of teams have 2 games left. So there's not much left to play. So now we'll move into the Monday games, where I think there's 2 big ones. Veloce versus Mouse. Who do you got there?
So, Gibbs, I know you're going to pick Mouse here.
Yeah, I know, because I hate Veloce.
You're not a big Veloce guy.
Now, I don't hate Veloce anymore. I want to just put this out here that I like what Veloce is doing now. Like over these last 2 weeks, And I did pick them to go 2-0 last week, which wasn't that hard because they're playing, lower end teams. But I like Veloce a lot more with what they're doing now. But I still like Mouse more.
So you got Mouse here, and I'll give you another opportunity to catch up just to make things interesting.
You're so nice.
I'm gonna go Veloce because I want to give them the respect that they're earning. I enjoy watching them play. I like watching Veloce play because one, a lot of times things happen that you don't expect. It's always fun to be surprised. There was one play this past week where Cassio had bumped a defender into the ball right at the perfect time when the second defender was coming to challenge, and he got it by both of them. He pool shot bump pass to himself, completely getting it by the defense, and then got that ball passed into the middle. Then also shortly after that kickoff goal for Veloce, they just manage to get goals when they are in dire need of them.
Yeah,
and they're clutch. The clutch factor is there for Veloce. So I just like watching the play. I like watching Freaky down in the middle, banging shots off these passes from Flame and from Cassio. Mm-hmm. So they're a fun team. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Freaky's Twitter game at times.
How does he find something to complain about after a 2-0 week? That's what I wonder. He always finds some way to complain. Come on,
it keeps him fueled. He's a dude who uses that for fuel. I love it. I love it, and I hate it at the same time.
Oh, Freaky. But I have to go Mouse just because, again, what Mouse did this week really sold me on that team. I expect that to continue. They played TSM the day before, so that's a great confidence booster right there. And then they go in and they'll play Veloce. So I think Mouse is beginning to fire on all cylinders, and I don't think that'll change when they play TSM, so I think they'll still ramp up to go against Veloce. But definitely, that game is very important for, will you be a 3-4 seed or a 5-6? Mm-hmm. And possibly a top 2, obviously. That's still, in the run-in, but that could matter a lot come playoff time, that matchup. But the final one, and what many consider the greatest Rocket League series in history, Vitality versus Dignitas from the last World Championship, that rematch. Who do you got here, James?
This is a very, very difficult pick. I don't want to do it. All
right, well, then I'll do it first, James. I'm going Vitality here. I think just what they're doing lately with all three players, Fairy Peak's hitting his shots now, where I thought early in the season he wasn't. K-Dop is dishing the ball. Alpha playing so incredibly smart now, where when he has time, he'll go for the dribble play, but then into a pass, not go for the solo plays. And again, I think that was the thing people were worried about coming into the season, of just he's going to continue to do his solo play style. It's no, he's got K-Dop and Fairy Peak. He knows he doesn't have to anymore. And that's a very, the same thing that happened at Fairy Peak when he was playing with Pashy and he had his worst season ever. It's because he just couldn't trust. And I feel like for all three players on Vitality right now, they can trust in one another. I think they are slightly better than Dig right now because, again, Dig, very easy schedule. Then they go up against Mouse and they get tested and they almost lose that series. So, I think Dig is a very good team. I think Vitality's better. I'm going to go Vitality.
Gabs, I'm going to go with you on Vitality.
I think James, you're supposed to.
I know. To be fair, I've given you some chances. I've given you chances to catch up. And I said earlier, before the season when they picked up Alpha, that I thought this was going to be the best Rocket League team in the world. So I want to pick them here because this is where they really start to prove that. This is a very important matchup for top 2. Alpha has to have a good series here. This is one of the big reasons why you pick up an Alpha, is to get wins in this situation and get yourself that guaranteed spot at the World Championship. That can't be understated how valuable top 2 is.
Yeah,
it is so important, especially in a deep European region. So this is the series that where you're starting to pay the rent, pay the bills. Alpha's got to show up for this one. I think he's going to do it, and Vitality will get the win over Dignitas. So I hope it's even half as entertaining as the World Championship Series was. We could see some fireworks.
Yeah, we'll see how Astral does. I felt like Astral during that, the greatest series ever. I felt like a Dig would have won that. If he didn't tilt for 3 straight games. There was one big mistake. I think it was game 3 or game 2, and then he tilted for 2 extra games. And Vitality wins the ball. They're up 3-1, and then it's it's very hard to beat anyone 3 times in a row. So they wound up losing that series. I don't think Astral is like that anymore. He had a big week, some big plays versus Mouse, so it should be closer. But yeah, I think just like RV is firing on all cylinders, but there's always that potential from them to just kind of fall apart for a series like these past 2 seasons have been. So we'll see what happens. It should be really fun. And then only 2 weeks left after that, James. We only got 2 weeks. Week 7, week 8. Not a lot of games left. Again, a lot of spots are going to be clinching soon for at least top 6.
It's been fun seeing how the league play has been shaping up for the most part. Exactly as expected, I would say. The only thing for us that wasn't really as expected is we didn't think the Knights and Ghosts were going to be struggling as much as they are, and we didn't think Sonics would be doing as well. I think that's the only surprising thing so far this league play.
Yeah.
And maybe how bad Cloud9 has been.
Like, I think Barca and Veloce as well being, like, doing this well, I think has been a slight surprise, but I think, like, pretty much everyone had them top 6 anyway, so it doesn't change things too much unless they do finish top 2. But, yeah, it's going to be a good run, an exciting run at the end. Make sure you guys tune in Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. We're working overtime, James.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what? I told them that it's triple my rate.
Oh, true. I forgot.
I said it's triple my rate, and I want a black SUV picking me up, tinted windows, and make sure that thing's loaded with gushers. And I'm okay. I'll be okay working.
See, I actually get double the rate when it's daylight savings time, because for us on that European broadcast, we got to wake up an hour earlier.
Gosh,
that's gonna be fun. We have to get up at like 5:30 a.m. Oh, that's gonna be grand. Well,
and then that leads into the next day where we have the doubleheader. This is going to be a nightmare of a weekend.
So I actually get double pay on Sunday plus a lot of beef jerky. So that's what I get on Sunday. But you get gushers on Monday. So all right, we'll have to share. We'll have to share for sure.
All right, we'll get some bartering in.
But that's it for the pre-flip, not the half flip, episode 2. Brought to you by Prediction. That is 2 E's, and it's the same in the name, the pre-flip, 2 E's. Prediction Esports, that is their Twitch. Go check it out. We are live every Tuesday. Times change sometimes. We're going to try and hit 3 p.m. most of the time, but we'll let you know on Twitter if that changes. That's Gibbs000 and Go Jamesbot Go on Twitter. And then besides that, YouTube, Prediction Esports as well, 2 E's, and my YouTube, Gibbs00. So you can check out the show there for all the fun live stuff where we talk about the hitboxes, which probably be a little bit valuable to look at there. But it's also on iTunes and Spotify. So definitely download those and just listen on the go, because honestly, there's not a ton of visual components, and I'm the only one so far with a webcam. And we just want to see Jamesbot with webcam. So
yeah, I'll have it set up soon.
No worries.
I spent all yesterday on the phone with Comcast. It was not good.
That's always fun. Yeah, a bad internet is something you never wish on anyone. No. Not your worst enemies. It's terrible. But that's it. The pre-flip episode 2 in the books. We'll see you this weekend for RLCS, and we'll see you next Tuesday for another episode. Thanks, James.
Thank you, Gibbs.
Bye.
Bye.